LUCIA and I'm here at Eltham Hill School. Today we are reporting for BBC School Report. We have a wide range of subjects such as school trips, sports events, Creme eggs and Year 8 options even. Over to the sports.
Good morning, I'm Sophia from Eltham Hill School and I'm reporting on sports. We have a range of sport activities from basketball, netball and football. I'm proud to be in the basketball team where we recently won the basketball championships, where we will go on to the London Youth Games.
Hi, I'm EVIE. I do pole vault and running. I really enjoy pole vault because I think it's quite an unusual sport and not many people do it.
Hi, I'm Emma and I do 3 sports a week. I do running, gymnastics and swimming, and I really like the motivation to try and beat my target in all those sports.
I'm in the basketball team and the netball team, and I think what I like about it is that you play with other people that you like, and as a team you get to work together.
I'm in the netball team for Eltham Hill and I really enjoy it because it helps me work as a team and make more friends.
I'm joined here by Miss Pollard, a dance teacher. Sports in our society, especially in London.
I think there could be more on offer. It's very hard to get, certainly a younger generation, with the ability to travel and to get to various locations that are able to provide those facilities and provide those clubs. And certainly for very younger children, I think it's important that we put as much on as possible within London to try and channel that energy and trying to keep them then through sport through the years. So I think possibly developing the more unusual sports rather than the obvious, the football, netball, the ones that we think of instantly. Possibly it would be nice to develop more of the unusual sports so there's more opportunities.
We have interviewed teachers and students on the importance of school trips and if they would go on more.
What is the negative side of too many school trips?
Well, the negative side would be that there's obviously missed learning happening. So if you're constantly going on trips, then you're not in lessons, and if you've got a lot of staff who are going on trips as well, then their lessons have got to be covered. So you have to weigh up the benefits of the trip against the loss of education and the impact it's going to have on students' learning. So that's the balance.
How is the price decided on school trips?
Well, what we normally do is you try and find out a price from a range of different organisations, and you keep the price down as low as possible. So if it's possible to get free transport, you arrange for that, which you can through TfL. Or if you're organising a trip abroad, you might get a range of different companies to look at a price, and then you go for usually the cheapest price that you can get. And then you try and subsidise those students who are going to find it difficult to pay.
What is the process you have to go through to allow a school trip?
Oh, it takes a long time. If you ask any teacher, organising a trip is a major undertaking. So they first of all have to do all the research to find out about the best way of doing it, the cheapest way. They've got to work out the price, and they've got to work out how they're going to run the day, or if it's a residential, who's going to go on it, how many students. They've got to do a thorough risk assessment to assess all the dangers along the way. Then they've got to collect together all the information, medical information, parental permission, all of the numbers. They've got to put an itinerary together. Then they've got to pass that all to me so that I can say yes or no. And then they've got to organise all of the cover and all of the other things that go along with it. And then write about it at the end as well.
Are there any big school trips coming up that you can tell us about?
Yes, it's a ski trip which is happening over Easter, which I think happens every year. It's going to be really exciting for lots of students. And then in the summer there's also a trip to the Ardèche in France, and that's a sort of outward bounds type trip. There's also going to be a trip to Germany later in the year. And in fact I've just been gathering information about all of the residential trips that are planned over the next 5 years, so that we can try and spread them out so that every student gets the opportunity to go on at least one trip abroad. So there's a trip to New York planned again for next year, and a whole host of other things as well.
Thank you, Miss.
How much did these trips cost?
I believe the America trip cost students £1,200, and the 2 ski trips cost between £700 and £1,000 for the students to go on.
Do you wish you could have been on more trips?
Yes, I love going on trips because I think it's a perfect way for teachers to get to know students and see students doing different activities. So yes, when I can, I always try and go on a school trip.
What activities did you do on those trips?
So the 2 skiing trips have been primarily about skiing. So the girls have done 4 or 5 days of skiing. The New York trip, when we went skiing, we actually had a day and a half in New York and did some sightseeing. And the New York trip that I've been on this year was a fun-filled extravaganza of touring around New York. What we didn't do, we did all the main attractions, the big buildings, the Empire State, Liberty Island. Just absolutely crazy, full-on, but fantastic week for both staff and students.
Overall, did you have a good time with your students?
Yes, all 3 or 4 trips that I've been on at this school have had a fabulous experience, and the staff have been great, but more importantly the students on all of the trips I've been on have been absolute credit to themselves, their parents and the school.
If you could go on one of the trips again, what trip would you choose?
Always the ski trip. I love skiing, I love taking and leading the ski trip. I really do see the girls have a really fantastic experience. We arrive at the ski resorts and they look at the mountain and go, oh, I wouldn't walk up that, and then by the end of the week they're skiing down it. But I think I'm also down to go on the New York trip next year, so I'm looking forward to going on that one as well.
Why do you think it's important that students go on school trips?
To get real world experiences, so they see the world in different places. They're put into different situations. I know for a fact the girls that went on the New York trip, they had to do some things that they'd never experienced before, and I do know that they had a thoroughly enjoyable experience having to do some really challenging things without their parents. So yeah, I would encourage students to go on a trip because it teaches them lots of new skills.
Do you think trips are important to the students so they can create bonds with other students they may have not necessarily made otherwise?
Yes, most definitely. Like the ski trip, often you might have year 11 students with year 7 students, not because of their social group, but because of their skiing ability. So actually it's really good for students to get to know, work with, experience dealing with situations with other students.
Thank you.
I'm here today with Ms McDermott talking about school trips. What is the negative side of trips?
Well, personally, I don't think there's any negative side of trips. I think there's really enriching and very positive. I suppose one negative might be that you could potentially miss some lessons in school, but generally that's outweighed by how much fun and how much enrichment and learning you have on the actual trip.
What about the behaviour of the students? Do you think that's a problem?
Never has been on trips. There might have been a few quite minor incidents, but on the whole, behaviour is generally really good. Sometimes in hotel trips there might be a bit of silly behaviour at night, but nothing too horrendous. So yeah, I haven't noticed anything too bad.
Is it beneficial for the students?
It's really, really beneficial. Most people, when they get older, that what they remember most from school is school trips, so it's hugely beneficial, and it's a time for pupils to have a bit of time with their friends and have a lot of fun, as well as learning about another country and another culture.
What is the process of approving the trips?
First of all, your line manager, you write down the details of a trip, and then your line manager signs it, and then it goes to the head teacher to approve. So it's quite straightforward, really. Okay. Yeah.
Are there any important upcoming trips that you know?
Well, at the moment there's a German exchange going on, and that's funded by the British Council, the Erasmus project. So we've been given quite a large sum of money to run a project with a German school. The German group is coming over in June, and we're going to go back in September. And there's also a trip to the Rhineland that Miss Coston is running in July for years 7, 8 and 9.
Can you name some of the trips you have been in Eltham Hill School?
Yeah, for over the years there have been many. We've had French exchanges to the south of France, Montpellier, to Toulouse, and also some in the north of France. So many student exchanges over the years. Trips to Paris, Disneyland, trips to Germany, Cologne, Berlin, a frequent trip to every year we had a trip going on to Berlin. So there have been many trips, and a Spanish exchange as well. Yeah.
If you could go in one trip again, which one would you choose and why?
I think I would choose the trip to Berlin, just because it's so fascinating. I've been there many times, but every time I see and learn new things.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What is the negative side of trips?
The negative side of trips. Oh, that's a difficult question.
Like the kids' behaviour. Do you think there's a problem with that?
Well, actually, the last trip I was on was to New York, and I think we had a fantastic time where we didn't have any issues with behaviour or anything. Now, one of the things I can think of in terms of negatives is, again, like I said, because we were on the New York trip, it was a long trip, it was a fully charged trip, loads of activities, loads of things to do. So the students started to feel a bit tired very quickly. The jet lag started to actually cause them some issues as well. But overall, I can't think of anything negative. It was a fantastic experience. Everybody's enjoyed it. Yeah, trips are good. You can't be negative.
Is it beneficial for the students?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, again, I'm going to go back to the New York trip. I'd like to think that all the students had a really good time trying to get to know each other, but also just kind of visiting different sites that they would have never had the chance to visit. The UN, that was, a bit of geography, a bit of history, kind of, adding to their knowledge, but also just seeing a different culture, experiencing different foods. So yeah, definitely, really good.
Do you think the process of approving the trips is difficult?
I'm sorry, I didn't catch that.
Do you think the process of approving the trips is complicated?
I don't think so. I think all the stages for approving a trip are necessary. So we make sure that we've got the right number of students, we make sure that we've got the right number of members of staff. We do make sure as well that we consider all the risks and how we deal with it. It's just about being prepared and making sure that the trip goes smoothly. We were very well prepared for the New York trip, and that went smoothly because everything was looked at, everything was taken into consideration, and that's what made it a successful trip.
Are there any important upcoming trips that you're excited about?
Oh yes, there is a ski trip taking place over the Easter period. I think they're going to Andorra. There is another one further down, I think around the May half term, to Ardèche in France. There's another one to Germany in July. So yeah, we're really lucky here at Eltham Hill School to have so many trips.
Thank you, sir.
Good morning, Eltham Hill. My name is Sophia, and this is the Year 8 option section. Over to our first interview.
I'm joined by Miss Collette to ask about the Year 8's options evening. Miss, do you think there's enough variety in the Year 8's options?
I think there's a nice range of subjects in the Year 8 options, especially with the different pathways, and because all students have the opportunity to look at the creativity block and pick a different subject that may be quite varied compared to the other subjects that they may be studying. For example, they may pick a language or study history or geography. They then have the option to look at something like media or art or drama, so that they can show they have different skills, which leaves it quite broad. When they go on to A level or picking their careers, they can then pick any different path they like.
Do you think it's good for every student to do triple science?
I think it depends on the student. If someone is really interested in science and they're not sure which science that they may want to carry on in the future, it's nice to sort of keep their options open and look at different subjects. I think it's good. For other students, different routes might be better for them, so it depends really on each student and their skills and their interests.
Do you think there's enough specialised subjects?
I think there's a good range of subjects at the school. I think especially in the creativity block, as you mentioned, there's lots of different subjects in there. For example, when I was at school, we didn't have photography to study, all these different creative subjects, and it really shows the students just what they can do after school and how these different specific skills can help them in later life. I think there's a good range of subjects, and they all seem to be quite popular, which is good because it shows that students are able to pick subjects that they find interesting and they think that they will do well in. I'm not sure about what they could add, but it might be interesting to speak to the Year 8 students or even the Year 7 students, even the Year 11 students. What would they have liked to have done in year 9, Year 10, Year 11? What would the Year 7s be looking for? What would attract them to the school?
In the lead up to Easter, Cadbury's have released a white egg competition. There are 371 eggs released, with some winning you up to £1,000. And at the co-op, you can win up to £2,000. However, this competition has caused a problem. Members of the public have been unwrapping eggs and not buying them. We asked students and teachers what they thought.
If you saw this cream egg in the store, would you buy it?
If it was open,
Yeah.
no, I wouldn't.
How would you feel if you went into your local superstore and you saw this?
Disgusted.
Thank you.
Do you think it's acceptable to buy a cream egg that looks like this?
No.
Which one would you rather buy in the store?
That one.
Do you think it's acceptable to buy a cream egg in this steak?
No, it's not acceptable.
How would you feel if you went into a supermarket and you saw this?
I would be very disappointed in the public.
It's acceptable to buy a cream egg like this?
No.
Which one would you rather buy?
That one.